Good morning. Good morning. Today we are going to do beading and boxing, and I want to do beading and boxing on this final impression. I'm going to do beading and boxing on this final impression so that the borders of the cast that we have received from border molding, right, the borders, well-rounded borders, the width and the depth of the vestibule is maintained. I want to tell you that there are two types of beading. Excuse me. Beading is two types because of necessity. Boxing also we have many types, but it's not because of necessity, it's because of convenience. Beading is two types because some materials like rubber base impression materials, alginate, etc. do not allow wax adherence. In other words, wax does not stick to them. So it becomes important, or it becomes necessary for us to find another way to make beading. So we have two types. One is wax beading and one is beading with pumice and plaster. Boxing is usually done in both cases with wax, with boxing wax. You can also use metal template. Boxing, you are using different things just for the sake of convenience, but beading is done because of the sake of necessity. The wax will not stick on rubber-based materials or on hydrocolloids. It will not stick. So it becomes imperative that you have another way to do the beading. You need to do beading for your final impression because the borders of the impression must be preserved, must be protected. The width and the depth of the sulcus that you got must be protected. Okay, so we're starting our beading and boxing. I have got some beading wax here, red beading wax strips. It comes from Kemp Dent, and they basically look like this. So if you take them out, they look like this, and they are in small bits, square cross-section bits, if you see that. And this can be used take out one piece like that. You want to pull it off, basically you can just break them separate, yeah, and then just strip off. Strip off, they come off like that. So I take one, might need two, so break the next one off. Yeah. Make sure you break them off before you pull them apart. Okay. Okay, so I have two strips of beading, red beading wax. I'm going to do the beading onto this impression that we have made. And that you can see the impression very clearly. I'm going to draw a line 2 millimeters below my vestibule. This is my vestibular depth, right? This is the edge of my vestibule, right? And this is the edge, so I'm going to draw a line. That's the edge. So I want to draw a line 2 millimeters below that. So I'm going to draw it here. Okay, let me get another color pencil for this. So I have just erased my line off there, as you can see it. I'm going to just use a normal ordinary pencil here. I'm going to draw a line 2 millimeters below the vestibule. Hope you can see that. Following the shape of the vestibule. I'm not changing the shape. Following the shape of the vestibule. Can you see that? Let's just remove that glare a little bit. I don't know if it's clearer now. following the shape of the vestibule. Let me try another setting. Another setting. Color pencil. See that? Nice. So you come over this side, you have frenum, you want to leave the frenum open. Come over to this one. Right, on this one, go back a little bit. Yeah, okay. Remove these. Alright. I'm going to go on to this side. Right. Hope you can see that clearly. And then going to go over to the other side, leaving the frenum open there. Yeah, coming over to this side. So you can see how that is done. We already have the posterior vibrating line marked out. I'm going to darken it in the blue, in the green itself. Yeah. So we have the posterior vibrating line marked out, and you can see I've drawn a line 2 millimeters around. When it comes to the posterior most part, I'm going to just join it in here. Okay, I need to do that with the other pencil. So join it in here. Okay, here also I'm going to just join it in here. Right, so this is the point on which I'm going to stick my beading wax. I have my beading wax strip. Pull out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and this is quite flexible right now in room temperature itself, so I don't have much of a problem. Just adapt my material just like that onto my impression. It sticks to the impression, so I'm contouring it according to the line. Okay, zoom in a bit maybe. I'm contouring it according to the line. Okay. Any area that does not conform to the line, I can always correct using my wax knife, because it's wax. Okay. All right. Okay, so we have done our beading almost completely. Now the posterior part I prefer to leave it a little extended, so later I can, a little extended so I can later trim my cast. That way I feel much more safer. So I'm going to just extend it beyond my posterior vibrating line. I'm going to come all the way to here. We just cut off this excess so it doesn't heat the instrument, and gently cut it off. Okay, I'm going to adapt it maybe a little bit more, that location, right? as you can see what I've done. Okay, alright. Then I just adapt it in. Right. So in the posterior segment, I have left it slightly beyond my posterior vibrating line. Everywhere else you can see I have followed the curve of my line. You can see that everywhere. Correct? Now here in the frenum area, you can see that it has not really followed the line there in the frenum area. So I want to just make some adjustment to that. So I'm just opening it up a little bit. Right? So it follows the frenum area again. Right? Now, once you've done this, you want to seal this. You want to seal it so that it stays. It stays stuck to the impression. For sealing, just heat your instrument and you want to run it along the border. Just hope I can show you that. Just run it along the border so that it seals up. You don't want to make your instrument too hot because then it tends to float a lot. Just a little bit. Yeah. Right, so it's kind of sealed up. I also want to seal up the back. Alright, if I seal up the back, need to go out there, yeah. Seal up the back, it will help it to be more stable. So I want to heat it up and just seal up like that. You see the material just melting in. It's very easy to do beading and boxing. I don't know why people don't prefer it. They think it takes a lot of time. With the right kind of wax, it's very easy. The benefits of beading and boxing definitely outweigh the time it takes, and definitely worth the effort when the final cast and the final product is perceived. Definitely worth it. Proper well-rounded edges in the denture, good fit, no irritation to the patient. These are all big advantages, and the step starts here. And once I've done this, you see some areas of my beading are not regular. So I want to make this regular. So I want to Alright, yeah, some areas are not too regular. I want to make this regular by just and I want to keep my width also correct. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I want to keep my width also correct. I don't want it too wide. So I just reduce to the width I need. I need about 2 to 3 millimeters, not more. Okay. You can also smoothen up this part Okay, the beading part, you can smoothen it up by just using the back end of your instrument. Wax there. Heat up the back end a little bit and you can smoothen this up very easily by just moving it like this. It becomes smooth. When you want to keep it slightly angled down, the wax, you always want to keep it slightly angled down, okay? So you want to bend it slightly down. Continuing with my smoothening process. Smoothening process. Yeah. Just finishing it up, bending it down slightly so that when I finish it, it's easy for me. I don't have much work to do. And the posterior most part also, I want to keep it smooth. Okay, so that's done. And now for boxing. Okay, I have a little thickness, too much of thickness here to like to take off. Yeah, this is better. Don't want too much thickness in that region. Okay. All right. Yep, that's good. Now you see, when you observe it, you see that some places it is possible that the material has crept all over and beyond my line, like in this place. So in these places you can use a wax carver, just open off a little bit. Right, so the edge that is actually, it's sealed all the way down, but the edge that is actually crossed my pencil mark is just cleared up. I have my entire depth saved up there. Right, so that's easy way to manage all this. Here it's okay, this side is okay, just a bit here. Yeah, posterior is all right. So you see that? It's as quick as that. I don't know why we rely on technicians so much and why we can't do it. Anyway, so this is it. Alright. So once this is done, I will use boxing wax to box this. Alright. Or you can even use base plate wax. It's very simple to use a base plate wax. Essentially you want to cut the wax into an appropriate height. For this you need a ruler, if you want to use a ruler to go all the way. I would just simply suggest you to go midline, go midway through. Okay, take the wax, go for the middle, and then draw it all the way back, and that should be good enough. That should be good enough by width. Okay, so this is the idea. So once this is good enough, you take it, place it, and you want to just adapt it on. Just adapt it on. You want to heat the wax. Let me just show you what I'm doing so you have an idea of what I'm doing here. Okay. So now you can see. Okay. I'm just flaming it. Alright, it's still not visible. Alright, what I'm doing is I'm just flaming the edge of my base plate wax, the edge. This edge, I'm flaming it. Okay, I'm not flaming down, just this edge. Flaming the edge.